Trump may be starting to regret his choice for the new head of the Department of Homeland Security. Only a short time after taking office, controversies, shocking remarks, and poorly prepared decisions by Senator Markwayne Mullin have quickly turned him into a target of criticism in Washington. One of the most shocking moments in Mullin's career happened right inside the U.S. Senate. During a tense hearing, he challenged a labor union leader to stand up and fight him right there in the meeting room.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Mullin's past statements have done little to calm those concerns.
I don't buckle up, and the reason why I don't buckle up, and people can say whatever they want to, they can raise their eyebrows at me again, is because of carjacking. How about we teach Jesus loves me? Red and yellow, black and white, they're all precious in our sight. Now, I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is. War is ugly. It smells bad.
Leadership.
This is war, and we're taking out the threat.
You'll
concede this is war.
We haven't declared war.
And Ayatollah is going to be sent to what, I guess, receive his 77 virgins, if that's really a thing. There was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein.
Right. It was 2008.
This is why there probably has to be a larger deployment of National Guard to protect federal agents from doing their job, or to be able to let them do their job. What if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have.
To understand why this decision has become so controversial, it is necessary to look at the very agency Mullin is about to lead. The United States Department of Homeland Security is not a typical department. It was created after the September 11 attacks with the mission of coordinating dozens of federal security agencies, from border protection and counterterrorism to immigration enforcement and the protection of critical national infrastructure. The power of DHS stretches from the southern border to airports across the country, from border patrol forces to cybersecurity operations. The person leading this agency must deal with some of the most complex issues facing the United States: terrorism, immigration, the border crisis, and increasingly intense political conflicts within the country itself. Yet instead of choosing a national security expert, a retired military general, or a seasoned administrator from the federal bureaucracy, Trump placed his trust in a figure with a very different background. Mullin is a senator, that is true, but before entering politics, he was better known as a mixed martial arts fighter and a construction business owner in Oklahoma. His personal story is often described as a from nothing to success narrative, an image that Trump and his political movement have always liked to promote. However, what worries many people is not Mullin's background. The concern lies in his political style and the way he has behaved over the years. However, a more important question must be asked: why did Trump choose Mullin? To answer that question, it is necessary to look at the way Trump has built his power structure during both of his presidencies. For years, Trump has repeatedly demonstrated that the most important factor for him when selecting personnel is not experience or managerial ability, but personal loyalty. Those who are willing to defend Trump in the media, in Congress, and during political investigations often have a greater chance of rising within his power structure. Mullin fits that model perfectly. He is one of the Republican Party senators who has most frequently and aggressively defended Trump in the media. In many political debates, Mullin has not hesitated to repeat Trump's talking points, from immigration issues to controversies surrounding elections. For Trump, placing someone like Mullin at the head of DHS is not merely a staffing decision, it is also a political decision, placing a loyal ally at the center of the domestic security apparatus. But that is exactly what worries many security experts. DHS is not an ordinary political agency. Decisions made by this department can directly affect civil liberties, immigration rights, and the way the government deploys federal forces inside the United States. When such an agency is placed under the leadership of a figure known for extreme statements and a confrontational style, the risk of politicizing national security institutions becomes clearer than than ever. Some analysts even argue that the appointment of Mullen reflects a broader trend within the Trump administration, the gradual replacement of policy experts with symbolic political figures. In this model, positions of power are no longer given to people with experience managing complex systems, but to individuals who can serve as political defenders of the president. That is why when the name Markwayne Mullin emerged as Trump's choice to lead the Department of Homeland Security, the reaction in Washington was almost immediate. From lawmakers to security experts and many former government officials, the same question kept being repeated. Is this really the right person to run one of the most important security agencies in the United States? That question became even more urgent when people looked at the circumstances that led to this change. Because before Mullin was nominated, the Department of Homeland Security had already gone through a chaotic period under his predecessor. A period filled with scandals, controversy, and political pressure. And it was that crisis that ultimately left the powerful DHS position suddenly vacant. To understand why the leadership position at the United States Department of Homeland Security was abruptly changed, it is necessary to go back several months before Markwayne Mullin was presented as the successor. At that time, the agency was already facing intense controversy under the leadership of the previous secretary, Kristi Noem. One of the biggest scandals revolved around a massive DHS advertising campaign. According to reports revealed during congressional hearings, the campaign cost roughly $200 million to $220 million in American taxpayer money. While the official goal of the campaign was to communicate messages about border security and immigration law, what angered many lawmakers was the content of the advertisements. In many of the videos, Noem appeared as the central figure, riding a horse across wide fields, standing in front of Western American landscapes, and speaking about the spirit of American freedom. For many lawmakers, this no longer looked like a government information campaign. It looked like a personal branding effort funded by taxpayer money. The controversy became even more serious when another detail began to emerge during congressional investigations. A large portion of the DHS advertising budget had been awarded to a media company that was almost completely unknown. Investigators discovered that the company had been created only a few days before receiving a contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It had no history of working with the federal government, no clear record of operations, and barely any presence on the internet. These discoveries immediately raised suspicions of possible corruption, or at the very least, extremely careless management inside DHS. That was the context behind the sudden decision from the White House. Noem was removed from the leadership of DHS, and Trump quickly announced her replacement, Markwayne Mullin. But this change did not necessarily bring a sense of stability to Washington. In fact, for many people, it only increased the concern. The big question now is no longer why Kristi Noem lost her position. The real question is what will happen next when a figure like Mullin steps into the center of the U.S. domestic security apparatus, with all the power and all the risks that come with that role.